Hi Benjamin, how are you?
I am good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I've just got some questions to ask about the academy. So what were you doing before the academy?
So before I joined here, I was at the University of East Anglia studying to do business finance and management. Graduated in the summer of 2021. Didn't really know what I wanted to do at that time, so I was just kind of thought I'd take the summer to think about really career options. And as a temporary fix, I basically decided to go into a credit control role where I deal with clients over the phone, dealing with inquiries or any complaints and chase them for payments. And was there for about 6 or 7 months, and then eventually on my last week that I was due to finish there, I got the phone call from Ten10 to say I got the job here.
So was tech more of just like an interest to you before?
To be fair, initially it wasn't really on my radar as something to go into, but yeah, after spending some time thinking about what I wanted to do, yeah, eventually it was something I got interested in.
What was it that actually interested you about it when you initially saw it?
When I first came out of uni, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. Then eventually I decided on the role that I wanted to look into and focus my attention was the business analyst role. But the BA role, along with a lot of other tech roles, it's very hard to break into the market. So when I was looking at job market and found Ten10 would offer me all the training and then also place me once I finished, I jumped at the idea. And yeah, I can see now that it was a lot easier to jump into that market. Now they're going through Ten10 for hiring me.
Yeah, it's very helpful. I think also because you're learning, but it's also a job that you're getting paid for. It's a complete win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So, how would you have described your technology knowledge before joining?
So I think me and along with a lot of other people do business degrees, it's not big focus on the tech side. Like we often focus on about market research, understanding different schools of thoughts. So it was very limited to pretty much just understand the Microsoft suite and a bit of SPSS, a statistical analysis application, but nowhere near on understanding like the different languages like JQL or coding that Ten10 taught us. But that was exactly why Ten10 appealed to me, the fact that they'd be able to teach me all that different levels. And even though that I didn't go down the QE route, a lot of the QE stuff I learned from the academy still applies to the BA role that I'm part of now.
Yeah, it's definitely more helpful. You're not kind of thrown in the deep end. You learn from the beginning to end. What was your perception of like tech careers before joining Ten10?
I think me, with probably a lot of other people who don't work in the industry, I think the way it's advertised and where you kind of view it as in the entertainment industry is kind of the very antisocial role. Have this idea that you're kind of sitting in a dark corner, just like sitting on your laptop all day. And I think as well, it comes across as a very hard career to get into and has really difficult to understand all the different technical areas. But I think now been working here for nearly 2 years, and even quickly when you came onto the academy, you could see that while it is still difficult to get your head around, you can pick it up relatively quickly. And it is, in fact, actually a very social role. I mean, for me, myself, I could be up to about 6 or 7 meetings a day talking with loads of different people from all across the business. So it does have a lot of social advantages. It's such a massive area, especially here. Like we have a good 400 people working in the IT sector of this company.
When you did start the academy, how did you find the initial training?
So I think with me and a lot of other people joining in, they take people from who don't necessarily have the background in tech, so they tailor the training to exactly that. So we started off with the basics like manual, automated testing, understanding different delivery approaches. So it was really good to be able to understand it from the very beginning and not be thrown in straight away to all the technical stuff. As well, it was a really good social opportunity. So obviously we have the opportunity to go up to Leeds and stay in housing. So I got to meet all the other people in my academy. I was able to build that relationship, and we're able to not just work together on the actual training, but also outside of work. I think for me, even though it is focused on the QE side, a lot of it does apply to a lot of the other different roles that you can go into, such like developer and a BA. So after I did the initial QE, I took the opportunity to do the additional BA training, and to understand like the day-to-days there and see what's required for the role. That's where I kind of cemented that was the role I wanted to go into.
After the academy, what was it like starting your first client work?
So obviously the training is really helpful and it really gives you the basic understanding of what is required for the role, but it's a lot different going into an actual client, fully understanding what is required in real life experience. So it was very nerve wracking, especially for me. I was joining partway through a project, so I knew I had to pick it up relatively quickly. But with 1010, they have an amazing wellbeing team. They do a really good induction. They're always there for you, always reaching out, checking in, making sure you're okay. And for me personally, I was lucky on my client where I was given a mentor, and I worked with other BAs in the client to really help me settle into the role. After a while, it was I got the time to really learn the organization at first and not be thrown straight in. And it was great to have such an amazing core team on my projects. So not just from a work setting, I was able to build up that relationship very, very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's what I've kind of got from everyone, that 1010 have been really helpful, but also all the clients that people I've interviewed have gone to have also said their clients are really helpful too, and they're always just there to help. So I think when you have that base and foundation of the people that you were taught with and then the people that you're going to carry on to be taught, it's so good to have them like separately but have two different places to go. I think that's really, really nice.
Yeah, and they support you in completely different ways as well. Like wellbeing team really just wants to make sure you're okay, but like the client will also make sure you're okay from understanding everything about the organization and what they would require, because every client is slightly different. My clients, they said if 1010, even before they knew 1010 was offering to pay for the courses, they did offer me the same. And I have taken up those advantages as well. It's really good because they're not cheap either.
So what was the type of work that you did starting off? I know it was VA related, but what was like your day-to-day like?
So I've been at the same client here since November 2021. Really, my days, I've been the BA throughout the whole duration here. Most of my day is a lot of meetings. So as a BA, you need to go out, understand what all the different areas and stakeholders in the business want from your project. So I'd go out, find the different requirements, be able to document them all. In my specific role, I build a lot of the processes and design them along with the solution architect. So that's a lot of my day to day. Obviously, we work in an agile way, so there's lots of sprints and we have daily stand-ups. And for me, I'm not always working on just one project, so it's trying to balance the time out.
So now that you've thought about your entire academy journey, how do you feel you've grown and transformed, and kind of comparing how you started to how you are now?
So I think for me, when first started, like I said, not having too much experience, my confidence wasn't that high. And as a BA role, you have to be able to go speak to loads of different people in the business, even people high up, and be prepared to ask tough questions. And they'll come back with even harder questions that you may not have the answer to straight away. So trying to manage the expectations near the beginning was a bit difficult, especially just new. And it does give you a bit of imposter syndrome, which I'm sure a lot of people usually have when they first start role. But now I think it's been 2 years. I've built my rapport up a lot with people in the business, had a lot of experience, and I definitely feel a lot more confident in myself and what I'm able to do. And I think the feedback from 1010 and my client has really helped with that as well. I think the big thing as well is I was saying before about the perception. It has really changed on how I view the tech industry and really the BA role. And I wouldn't have thought when I first started 2 years ago that I would be enjoying my work life as much as I do now.
Yeah, it's weird because a lot of people I've spoken to, it's like, I could never imagine tech being my job. And then it's like, this is the best thing I've ever done. And they just love it.
Yeah, and it's because of that perception everyone has. Like it's not advertised properly, I don't think. I mean, 1010 does a really good job at advertising it, but a lot of the time you do have that bad perception. It's not portrayed as being like the funnest job in the world. But
what would you say to somebody who is either in a similar position that you were in or a different type of position but is interested in the academy? What would you say to them about joining it potentially?
Probably be prepared to be lost at times. Obviously, it's not as bad as the media and everything portrays tech to be, but it's still difficult at times to get your head around. And I think you just got to be prepared for quite a long time to still be lost at certain points. I mean, I've had people in this client who've been working it for years, and they still have to go out and ask questions to other SMEs in the area because it is so much stuff to get your head around. So yeah, don't be afraid to really not understand things straight away, because you will eventually pick it up.